Welcome to CyberCEO, wherein we talk about how our cyberbackers helped our cyber CEOs take their businesses to the next level. CyberCEO is powered by Cyberbacker, the world's leading provider of admin support services from anywhere in the world to anyone in the world. Please visit our website www.cyberbacker.com for more details. All right, another awesome day here at Cyberbacker. My name is Jello. We're back with another episode of CyberCEO. And of course, we have a very special guest on the show right now. Philip, how are you doing today?
Hey, doing awesome, Jello. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much for asking and for giving us your time. This is your second time here, so we're very, very excited to have you back. Now, as you know, we have a lot of listeners who are also business owners just like you, so I need your help. Can you introduce yourself to our audience, maybe starting off with, what is your role in the business, Philip?
Yeah, definitely. My name is Philip. I'm a realtor over at 𝗙𝗯𝗶𝗹𝗶. I'm also our team leader of our team, 𝗙𝗲𝗋𝗋 Real Estate Incorporated. My wife up there, our Cyberbacker Josh is up there too. And myself, our teammate, Maureen Doyle, Rick Rosing, and Karen Garcia. So the whole team up and running.
So wow, even the picture of your cyberbackers was right there.
Oh yeah, we asked them to get a professional headshot. I mean, the lighting's kind of bad, but that's him right there.
Amazing.
And we asked them to do a professional headshot. We through Cyberbacker, we shot over what we felt was a cost and what the cost would be plus dinner out with his significant other. And because we did a team lunch here, and we were like, well, you can't have lunch with us on Zoom, right? So we're like, hey, go out, get your photos done, have a great time with your wife, and 𝗙𝗲𝗋𝗋, right? Just beyond just the business aspect of it, a big portion of it starts at home.
Gosh, just really feel that your cyberbacker Josh is just part of the family, part of your family there.
Yeah, I mean, he actually plays a giant role. I thought it was just going to be like virtual help, but then I didn't realize the moment you take so much off your plate, all of a sudden you start having more time, and it's not more time to play. I already, time block time with my family and stuff like that. I actually had more time to think, like work on the business, work through the business. And then I got creative on how can we leverage other parts of the business. And so what started off as a way to just kind of, free us of just the mundane routine actually allowed us to think of, wow, how can we grow that routine and affect our business, affect our clients. And it just kept on growing from there.
That's really awesome. Again, your cyberbacker is just a huge part of your business right now then.
Major. Oh yeah. When we look at our business model and I look at the aspect of lead management and growing the ISA database management and all that stuff, OSA aspect of it, I can't think of being able to grow that lead aggregation without Josh. And I don't think Josh would have been able to grow to that position without he's actually celebrated a year with us. Thank you, Josh. And he's grown so much through it, and Cyberbacker providing a space for training, development, growth, and then that own community. I'm not too familiar with it. I just know it's a massive community with that support, similar to Keller Williams. I can see him growing. He can see us growing, hopefully. And therefore we're growing together.
I think that's the main goal of the partnership like this. Business grows, your cyberbacker grows, everyone's happy on both sides. Right?
100%. Yes. 100%.
Now, I'm curious to know, how did you find Cyberbacker? Did you see us online? Did someone refer you to us?
Yeah. My coach, Ashton, from also Keller Williams, she's now formed her own brokerage of sort in Atlanta. And she said, no, we have 4. If you're thinking of leveraging, don't hire a full-time person or a part-time person off the bat. Invest in a virtual assistant, and here's a company. And because, I'm not going to question it, I'm like, all right, I'm already paying the coach what I pay. So I didn't even research any other opportunity. I just kind of went right with it. And God bless, it worked out incredibly well with you guys.
Of course, again, it's a partnership, mutual partnership between your business and Cyberbacker, of course, for the benefit of both. Now, you've been with Cyberbacker for a while now, so I'm curious to know what comes into your mind when you hear that word now, Cyberbacker.
Yeah, I actually changed our language. We don't call our teammate a virtual assistant. Maybe when we're introducing someone to the idea first, but Cyberbacker to me is almost like our first level of growing a leveraged business, right? So I guess the what comes to mind is like, hey, if anyone's serious about growing their business, whatever that business is, especially in this line of work, you're only serious if you're going with a cyberbacker, right?
Yes.
And I think of it as a very professional company. Even how you guys broke down from A to Z, how we eventually met Josh, and through that hire, what we call career visioning or recruit select process, that was pretty amazing in and of itself.
You already talked about that. Was actually going to be my next question regarding the hiring process here in Cyberbacker.
Right.
So I'd like to know more and dive into that a bit more. How was your experience there? What did you go through here in the Cyberbacker hiring process?
Man, I think you guys took away the heaviest parts and the parts that the most concern that we have, right? Anytime someone thinks of a virtual assistant, it's like, ooh, roll the dice. Hey, will this person be around after a week? Will they be around? How do we hold the cyberbacker, the virtual assistant, accountable? How do we know when it's not working? Who can we go to? I've heard all the negative stories about hiring a virtual assistant, and that was great because I was like, oh, wow, those are great things to think about. So when I went to meet with, at the time it was 𝗙𝗙𝗋𝗋𝗋, and eventually yourself, 𝗙𝗲𝗃, and then that whole team, it was awesome because it was all taken away. We had, I want to say 60 candidates, 50 candidates, and we described what we wanted. And it was so easy because people select themselves in or out, which is what business is, right? Why do a job you can't do, right? So, and then eventually interviews, and we had the backgrounds going into it, and you guys were doing all the screening. That made it so much of a relief because in my head, I was like, oh my gosh, well, I have family in the Philippines. Why don't I just hire them? But then it's not going to be like a professional relationship. There's certain things you can't hold your family accountable to that maybe someone who's in business you can hold accountable to, and vice versa. So I think you guys made the process incredibly streamlined, and you guys also left the door open to say, hey, if it doesn't work out, we have a protocol, right? And again, we've been blessed. Josh is amazing.
So you've been with Josh for a year now, right?
Yeah. We celebrated a year recently. We even put him on as our highlight for our team a couple of weeks back, and we're just thrilled to be with him, and vice versa.
So how did you know that he was the right fit for your business, right fit for you, everything that you wanted, that you needed help with? How did you know? Was it a feeling, or tell me more?
During the interview, he actually said, I'm willing to learn, right? And then there were three candidates that we interviewed. One was like super experienced. One was kind of, you can tell she was a little new, which is okay. And we're totally fine with that. We have we believe in failing forward. But when he said that, it kind of was like the linchpin for us because we're also learning too. We know what we know, and there's a ton of stuff we don't know. And even the stuff we do know, we know there's room for improvement. So with Josh, when he said that in his one sentence, my wife and I kind of looked at each other, and we knew like, okay, hey, there's a lot of potential there. And then when we kind of decided off bar, we were like, hey, well, we hopefully Josh is still around. We'll pick Josh if he hasn't moved, onto another to another gig. But we were fortunate he was available, and then when we started working with him, it was he was open, and we kind of laid the foundation in a sense of, hey, fail forward, learn every day. And we're going to circle back, and we're going to learn new things and grow together. What we're doing today will be different a year from now. What we're doing today will be different from a week from now. It's a constant evolution.
I agree with you there, the constant evolution, because every day you might be doing something, but again, after a few months, it might change. So you have to be really adaptable, not just your business, but of course your cyberbacker, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Now, next question, because here in Cyberbacker, we do provide a training for your cyberbacker, specifically Josh. So did that training in any way help you save any time?
Major. The fact that I can see his EOD, the end of day report, and see what the training is, it's like, oh, cool. So now I can probably reference something from the MREA or reference something from I think there was one that I thought was really cool. It was about mindset mastermind, or, thinking positive, and all the fun stuff that we do, but we don't train on, right? It's just, you pick it up in a book and hopefully you get it. But to kind of see the level of training there. And then we just introduce what we're doing. And like, for example, I sent him an email reply on one of his EODs, and it was about, hey, Josh, take some time to focus in on lead management and lead manager and data manager and all that stuff. And so now I know he's taken time and it's going to get right into the queue, and he'll be better at it than any of us here locally.
Yeah, again, as what you mentioned, the communication is very important too, right? Letting him know what are the priorities for the day, for the week, for the month.
Right.
Yes. How has your work and your lifestyle been after being partnered with Josh? Has it been easier, more time saved? Tell me more about this.
Yeah, I think it's definitely allowed me. So I've always been a big believer in keeping a very similar schedule: early morning, myself and my family; afternoon, picking up the kids from school, their thing; at night with them, and then fitting the business in between. But there becomes a point where you can't accomplish your goals on that very rigid schedule. Like, yeah, there's some ways I can kind of get more done. Josh really saved me from a ton of data entry, data management, a lot of the thinking behind 4,000 contacts. He actually helped me clean my database in 2 weeks. What I thought would take a year, and what I knew for sure I hadn't done in 7 years, he did in 2 weeks.
Wow.
So the fact that he was able to do all that and get me to a point where all I had to do was do what I feel like I'm good at, which is connecting with people and making phone calls and going on appointments and understanding real estate. It just allowed me to do more of that in the same amount of time. So when I think of what it's done for my life, it's allowed me to have more business come in and allow us to grow much faster so that I can have more choices, more options, more security with my family from a financial revenue standpoint, right? And then still invest in the business and invest in people. Like we brought in, our operations director right there. So, and there's different partners and different players who really help. They're growing within what we have here, and then growing our sphere and so much more.
Gosh, again, just everyone just working together just to make the machine go, like a well-oiled machine. Sorry.
Oh yeah. And Josh and Cyberbacker really was like that first, or I guess the first domino would always be the individual, right?
Yes.
And then just getting yourself together. The second big domino was coaching, but then really when you look at that leverage point, it's Cyberbacker, right? And it's that really good partnership, understanding what our priorities are and what matters, what doesn't. And then that's where Josh really fits in, because he's super cool. And I think we're in a space where, hey, things don't get done, it's totally fine. We're learning as we're growing. And the cool thing is quite honestly, great. There's just nothing negative. It's just, we're very fortunate it's worked out the way it has.
As again, there are proper expectations, setting up priorities for both you and your Cyberbacker are very, very important.
Oh, that's a great way to summarize it. Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, one last question for you, Filip. I know that Josh is going to be listening once we have this out. So what is the best part about Josh, in your opinion?
Man, there's so much. So I follow him on Facebook, and he's got an incredible family. Man, I feel like we lucked in that he's not just good professionally speaking, but also personally. He's a fun guy. He's a big part of our team meetings. A lot of times we're still meeting on Zoom because we're all over wherever we live, but he brings a positive energy. His smile's infectious. I love that he takes screenshots, sends it over. He kind of keeps us top of mind when it comes to our leads. The other aspect is that he's open to receiving. And here's another thing about Josh. Initially we weren't sure, like with the VA, we didn't think, the Cyberbacker had to match our schedule, right? But he really took it upon himself to match our schedule, even though we offered, like, hey, this work doesn't require you to be up at this time. And you're like, oh, no, this worked perfectly. Okay. And what we discovered was that thankfully, thank goodness he was working like kind of our same time, because now we have an avenue to like let our team know, like, hey, Josh is here not just for myself and Monica, he's here for all of us. And that has actually allowed us to grow Team 𝗙𝗻 even more from a value proposition standpoint. One day we're working on getting him to be like, I don't know how it works at Cyberbacker, but we would love for him to be the manager or the team leader of the Cyberbackers for Team 𝗙𝗻. As that mushrooms out, I can see that being Cyberbacker playing a huge partnership role with our company's growth and how we affect agents, how we affect clients, how all those logistics kind of work hand in hand. Because it's more than AI, it's a personal touch, and it's someone you can really work with.
Gosh, that's very exciting. Again, there exciting, of course, for Josh too, because probably in the near future is going to be a leader, of course, in your team as well. And we are very, very excited to see where it's going to blossom to in the next few months. And of course,
and I think he's a leader now, to be honest with you. I think that's a great point you bring up. It's not, he doesn't need to have like cyberbackers under him. I think with command and among other things, he has such a proficiency with it that the agents who are on our team, he actually, in a sense, oversees them in a way. And not to take away from the agents, it's just that his proficiency with command and his understanding of what we've kind of put out there and what he's worked on over the year, you know, it is kind of like that knowledge base. And the fact that he's also training within the system, and he's probably read more of the MREA than other agents, you know, and the one thing and shift and all that stuff. So he's going to be more polished and more, you know, readily adaptable. Like, I'm scared he would leave Cyberbacker. He's just growing within it. Yeah, obviously the company I know is growing, but I edify him because he's a really good guy, and we're really appreciative of the work he's put in with our group and team.
Yes, we're just looking forward to seeing where this partnership is going to be in the next years to come. Filip, thank you very much for being on the show today.
Thank you for your patience. Appreciate you guys. Thank you, 𝗙𝗳𝗋𝗋.
Thank you for listening to our daily dose of CyberCEO. Stay tuned to know more about how Cyberbacker creates a difference in this digital time and age. You can visit our website www.cyberbacker.com and follow our social media pages on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Spotify.